390 Wagon Master here. Alright, today in this video we are going to take a look at an Astatic Silver Eagle Plus. I know nothing about these microphones. I do somewhat remember these from back in the day. I'm going to say early 90s. And I think they were a very limited edition. This was about the time I think the Night Eagles were out. And maybe just after or somewhere right around the time the Diamond Eagles came out. So, you know, early 90s-ish. And this is for Darren, my good buddy Darren, Charlie Brown, Needle Bender / UDX 99 in Salt Lake City. It's a beautiful, beautiful microphone. Looks just like a Silver Eagle. And the complaint with this mic was no audio, it was humming, and it would not always key the radio. So we're going to take a look at this. Maybe we can get this puppy back on the air. All right, we got some Batman camera angle going on here. Okay, on the bottom plate, and this is why I say this is kind of a weird microphone actually, but here is our little hole here for our gain control. On the bottom we have ETS, end of transmission signal, and or / Roger Beep. On and off, there's a little slide switch here. We have pad. So we have 0 dB and -20 dB, so I'm going to assume that we can knock our modulation down quite a ways with this. And then we have VOX. So we have normal and VOX mode. And VOX mode is kind of neat. I'm not really sure how this mic works, but generally you would lock the mic down and it would not key your radio, and then you'd have to take your radio and put it into VOX mode. And then when you speak, it will key your radio in a hands-free fashion. Honestly, not an option that's used very much, and it's kind of worthless. And that's probably why we have the pad here to help adjust in those VOX features, because we would hit -20 dB and knock our gain down considerably, and that would help in the VOX mode for sure. So you know, if something happened in your room, some room noise of some kind, it would be less likely to key the radio. Yeah, anyway, kind of cool. Very interesting, that's for sure. All right, so anyway, we have the standard chicken choker style here. And of course it does the little PTT button. And in just kind of fiddling around with this microphone before I started filming, this does not always key. Mechanically it does. You can key it mechanically, but it's not keying the little relay. It has a little relay that you can hear in here, and that's powered off the 9-volt battery. So I don't know if we're having some switch issues in the stock or what. So yeah, let's tear the bottom off. All right, I've taken the bottom plate off, and it's standard issue Astatic pretty much. Actually, I think this is a little heavier than what I'm used to. But there it is. We have a date. I'm going to assume that's 5 of 90. And my camera's not being very cooperative here. But so we have sort of a schematic on there, and this looks just like a cord layout and some sort of a plug layout. And as we can see on the bottom here, it's definitely a new modern design. Here are our leads for the 6-wire cord, 9-volt battery, of course. And let's see, gain control is over here. And then here are our switches. They're kind of like a, I don't know, like a weird slide switch. I've actually never seen those before. And yeah, we'll have to see. I'll put this under the microscope, but it looks like we're going to need to do some solder joints. All right, I got to shed some more light on the situation, but here's the component side of the board. So we just undo a few screws here below the PTT unit. We've got a couple screws back here, and I'm baffled. This is wild. This is weird, not a leaf switch type system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the chicken choker over here, right? And watch what happens when I do this. It actually has like this little plastic rod. So when you actually use the chicken choker or squeeze the chicken choker, it pushes this rod down in here. So the only wires we actually have coming through the stock are the wires to the element, the mic element. So this is kind of cool. So what it's doing is when you do the PTT, this pushes this bar down here. If you use the chicken choker, it rubs on the back of here, pushes this down, and we've got a little Mashusta micro switch. That's actually a really good switch, and that's what works that. And then that keys our little relay, and that's what operates that circuit. Now, I don't really know what this little piezo device is looking like, and for you guys that know these microphones, you'll have to school me. I don't know why that's here. Kind of interesting. But anyway, I noticed on the solder side, we had some solder joints, and they were looking kind of scrubbly here in this switch system. And I could see why, because mechanically, we have this pushing down on this. So maybe if, you know, people are jamming on it or whatever, I guess after a while you could create some bad solder joints. But that's pretty interesting. It's kind of a clean setup. I like it, actually. I'm 50-50 on whether I'd rather see the leaf switches in there, because those rarely give problems. Sometimes if these microphones sit for years at a time, you'll have to clean some corrosion off the little tabs, which can be kind of a PIA. But I'm not sure about this micro switch yet. Micro switches are generally pretty reliable. So anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the pin and get this underneath the magnifying glass and maybe start doing some solder joint action there. Okay, so I've gone through here and freshened up some of these solder joints right in here. And there were a couple that were looking kind of flaky. I went around the board and dressed up a few other ones as well. This pot needed to be dressed up. This didn't really look too good. Now these little slider switches, these are interesting. And it's all dry now, but I took my can of CRC and sprayed all this. There was a bunch of dirt, and it looked like maybe somebody tried to grease these up, and I'm not really sure what they did, but or what they used, I should say. But the switches were pretty hard to move around. They seemed like they were kind of stopped up or I don't know, kind of sitting in whatever that lube was. But whatever that was, that grease or lube or whatever they used, was attracting a lot of dirt in there. And so we've got that cleaned up. I went around and took the meter, and I wanted to check and see if the thing was actually wired up right, and it was not. So what I did is I took the meter and went from, you know, blue to whatever pin it was supposed to be on the mic plug, and I forgot the wiring right at the moment. It's like one's shield, two's white, something like that. But anyway, the wiring was incorrect. So it was not properly wired. This has a little bit of strain relief on it. I'm not really sure if this was an Astatic thing or not, but I added another piece of heat shrink in there for strain relief. And then I've got, I snipped the wires off and re-tinned new fresh ends, cleaned off the connector, and this is like brand spanking new, very durable. This microphone keys up. I mean, I can key it up outside of the housing, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And yeah, we'll move on to the next phase here. Okay, so I've got the element plugged back in. Apparently there's this jumper wire here, and that jumper wire needs to be in there for this particular application. And I guess I could have probably done a little bit more research and found a wiring diagram for this, but it's just a microphone. I mean, come on. How hard can it be, right? So now you can hear the relay clicking. Now that's a really good quality micro switch. I'll get some CRC and spread in here and spray in there, and we'll just see. These are pretty much sealed, but you never know. I'm not going to add any lubricant, no deox or anything like that, because I'm in fear of it doing what I saw on the other side, actually attracting. And I believe these are pretty much sealed up, but she's a runner now. So fixing those solder joints was, I think, the key. I also had some up here on the component side that looked pretty scrubbly, and it looked like somebody was in here scraping stuff around with maybe a pick or something. So I believe this is had been attempted to be repaired at another time. I like all this layout. The jury's still out, though, on this kind of this funky thing. I mean, I know the leaf switches, the old leaf switches, are kind of an old school way of doing things, but D104s generally don't have problems. You know, maybe a little maintenance here or there, but anyway, that's still bugging me. Anyway, but yeah, keys the radio and everything, so we're going to put her together and see how it goes. Okay, so we've got her plugged into the Cobra 2000. Got the receive monitor on. Let's see if we've got audio. Hello, radio. Oh yeah, we do. The Roger Beep's pretty lame, but I expected that, honestly. Let's see here. There we go. Turn that volume down, see if you can hear it. Anyway, it works. The VOX mode seems to work, and the padding seems to work out pretty good. So, yeah, all is good. Nice. I like it when projects go this way. Bad solder joints. Clean these switches up because this was very erratic. The mechanical, these are the solder joints that were not looking good on the little micro switch, but I can see that because, you know, there's a lot of physical action going in there, so that's nice. Mic is wired up correctly with the proper strain relief action going on, and I don't know if Darren's going to appreciate purple heat shrink, but that's what we got. And it's in great shape. The thing's beautiful little microphone there for sure. I don't know if we can read that. Let's get up there close. Anyway, Silver Eagle Plus. Very cool. Very good looking microphone. This is this element is very hot. This element is good. Anyway, there you go. That is the completed project. Darren's Silver Eagle Plus. This sucker is complete, ready to go. It sounds great. I've talked to Darren on the radio with it on my Cobra 2000, and he says it sounds great. But these are pretty cool. So, and I imagine they're a collector's item if it's like, you know, the way the other lollipops have gone. So anyway, there you go. Take care. Have a good one.